It took me 2 years working as a full-time habit change coach to realize that most of it doesn't actually work. And in this video, I want to share what does actually work. Most of my clients that come say they don't have enough willpower, they just need to push harder. They know what they need to do, but they just don't do it because they're just lazy or some version of that. And this is total bullshit. It's not true. It's not about pushing harder or having more willpower. It's actually looking deeper. What is it that is holding you back? And that's why I want to make this video, to show you that it can be much easier to make the choices that you know are good for you and to make the lasting change. When I found this key shift with the client that I was working for 5 months to change certain habits in her life, which we were making progress using the common advice like, starting small, using the momentum, writing down the costs that she would be avoiding, and, all these tools like habit stacking and stuff. But she was still struggling and she was using so much of her willpower, and no matter how much strategy we did with her, it just didn't work. And then I decided to do something completely different with her. And I did one session that was completely different. And that one session was more productive than the 5 months of work we did before. And that's what I want to share with you today. And before we move on, I want to say that all of this common advice for habit change, it's not complete bullshit. It does work for some. For some, most of us, it works for a little bit and then it doesn't work. And that's where the other piece comes in. Just want to say that it's not that it's all bad and this is the only way to do things. But it just, in my perspective, in my working with clients, I found that this just helps so much more people to achieve what they want so much easier and understand themselves better. Okay, let's get to the meat portion of the video. Can I say that? Meat portion? You know what I mean. The meaty part. The good part, the good part of the video. So what was the missing link? The missing link in my practice with clients was parts work. And at the time I got trained as a parts hypnotherapist, and that one session that I did with my client that was more productive than the whole 5 months that we did before with just behavioral coaching was parts hypnotherapy. When I saw how effective it is, I went and got trained into IFS, that's internal family systems. And I chose it because it goes so much deeper into parts, understanding the relationships. And I just love parts work. And IFS is now the core modality that I use with my clients, with occasional hypnotherapy here and there and some other somatic methodologies that I found work best. But in this video, I want to focus on the parts work you can do on your own to figure out what is it that is stopping you from actually having the behavioral that you wanted, the behavioral change, basically. So now just think about any change you want to have, whether that's to start going to the gym, eating healthier, waking up earlier, or any other. Just pick any habit you want to change. And first part of this structure, of this method, is to identify the positive intent, the positive part behind each of those habits that you are currently having. Like, let's say emotional eating. So every single action that we're doing is designed to give us some positive benefit. I know it might sound crazy because you might say, how is, overeating and stuffing myself or not exercising giving me anything? Well, let's look deeper. When you're emotionally eating, what is the benefit you're getting? Well, you might be getting comfort, you might be getting procrastination or numbing of certain emotions, you might get distracted, you might get pleasure, enjoyment, you might get social connection, you might get maybe nostalgia of childhood and feeling love. Can you see the list is endless? With exercising is the same. You might be getting comfort watching the TV, hanging out with your friends, doing some other things. Like, there's always something that you're getting out of everything that you're doing. And even this single mind shift can do so much good for you if you're framing it that way, because instead of you know, being angry with yourself, judging yourself for it, you realize that, oh, actually, every single behavior does serve a purpose. And that kind of removes the judgment part, and it makes it so much easier to work with that part when we're, like, from IFS perspective, coming into more of the center of the true self, of the energy that we are calm, compassionate, curious, and we can work with those parts as if those parts were, you know, children or some other hurt parts that are just trying to do the best they can. I'm trying to stay as simple here as possible. If you don't want to make yourself seem like multi-parts person, if that doesn't resonate with you, just stick with whatever does. But basically identify the benefit that you're getting of your current behavior, that you're not doing the behavior that you want to do. Like with the eating example, you want to eat healthy, but then you keep overeating. And what's the benefit you're getting? Let's say you're just getting comfort, you know, coming back from work, and eating the healthy food would seem like a punishment to, you know, a part of you that wants to really indulge in this comfort food to give you comfort. Okay, so now that you know what that behavior is giving you, you can go a bit deeper and say, what is that behavior trying to protect you from? Sticking with the example of emotional eating, it might be protecting you from feeling sad or from feeling some hurtful emotions inside. So that's another layer. And you can go deeper and deeper because, you know, there's always a superficial layer. Oh, protecting you from boredom. You know, okay, what if you feel the boredom? What's behind it? It might be, you know, feeling of loneliness and rejection. And when I work with clients and we actually dig deeper, there's always some level of death, afraid of, like, being the fear of death. And it might sound crazy now that I say it if you're not haven't experienced the process somatically yourself. But essentially all the protection we have, those some parts of us, just when they form in a very early age, for a young child, it does mean death a lot of times biologically when we're developing. I hope this makes sense, but if you look at tribes early on, and if, you know, a person was rejected, then that person had so much less chance of surviving. And that programming is still within us. That's why the fear of rejection is so big. But I'm going slightly bit off tangent here. Let's stick to the habits here. But you can see, like, behind every habit, every behavior, we can go so deep into the real core issues. But see what it is for yourself. So after the first step is done, we get curious, we find out what that part is doing for us, what that part is protecting us from, trying to avoid. Now the next step is befriending that part, to understand that, oh, that part really cares for me, to help me avoid those hurtful emotions and bring me comfort instead. And just thanking that part to ease her up, because normally when we're trying to change a habit for a longer time, we just get into this battle inside and judging ourselves. Well, why are you eating again at night? You said you're not going to do it. And it just creates a lot of tension. So easing up and providing that part, that appreciation, usually sometimes, like, just that thing alone does a big shift, because that part doesn't feel attacked anymore. And we can understand better why we're actually engaging in the behavior. So now, once you understand this one part, we can go on to understanding this other part that wants to exercise, that wants to eat healthy, that wants to do all the, you know, good things that are for us, and see what's there. What is that part really seeking? Why does that part want us to eat healthy? Maybe because, you know, okay, she wants us to feel good. Yeah, makes sense. What else? To feel comfortable. Okay, what else? To have health and vitality, to connect with people. Okay, what else? And it can be so many different choices you can see. Like, so really the practice for you is to journal, or like most of the times when I'm giving this assignment to my clients that I'm not doing one-on-one session with them, I just ask them to journal, because what journaling does, it focuses your attention. Because if you're just talking to yourself, the thread can be lost so easily and you can start thinking about completely different things. But when you're journaling, it keeps your mind focused there. And why we're doing this, the polarization, to see what this part is holding, what that part is holding. And sometimes what I find when I'm working with clients is that when I analyze, when we meet with both of those parts, even though they seem opposite, one part wants to overeat, another part wants to be healthy, but at the core of what they are providing for us is the same. They want us to feel good. They want the comfort. And that is also making it easier, because those parts sometimes can feel like, oh, actually we're not in opposition. Maybe this part can, shift, and this part, and something new can evolve, or this part, we can meet its needs differently. But first step, witnessing with this part, what is it trying to give you and protect you from? What is its fears? What is that part afraid that's going to happen if you don't do it? And the same for this one. Maybe this part, in the healthy eating part, is afraid that you'll become ill and you'll not be able to be with your loved ones. And that's a deep fear. So really examining the fears so from your core self, true self, examining what are both of those parts holding. Also allowing them to talk to each other. I know it might sound crazy, but just give it a try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. Nobody's gonna, it's not gonna damage anything. And to allow them to talk to each other. And if it sounds too crazy, you can also shift chairs. You can have 3 chairs. Like, this is your true self chair, like your adult self, your wise self, your higher self, your true nature, your God's nature, we call it whatever you want. Like, come into this energy alignment, and you can use another chair to sit in this one part that does the habit that you don't want to do, and sit in this another chair and write from that place. Why is it so important for you to do the shift? To really understand. At this point, don't try to force, change anything. This is just exploration. And curiosity should be your guiding star, because curiosity is doorway to understanding and to connecting to your true self, to that energy. And if you want, you can also incorporate art. You can paint, draw, you can combine movement, you can dance that part out, you can visualize. And once you've done the witnessing, there are few ways how you can combine it. So one way is to visualize and to see how that part that's doing either the overeating, the under-exercising, going to bed late, how that part, like the need of that part. Let's stick to the same example of comfort eating. What are the other means to get that comfort without overeating? And see, maybe that part wants to, already start exploring. Maybe you can take a nap, or you can hug someone, call someone, go for a walk. What would bring the same level of comfort without the eating? Basically, how you can meet the needs of this part differently. And sometimes no answer comes right away, but you can just give your subconscious a program to work on, that this behavior finds another expression, this need finds another expression. And of course, just by doing this exercise and thinking, oh, instead of overeating I will go for a walk, it won't be as simple as that, as you come and you just go for a walk. But you will still require to have that's why I said those habit building techniques aren't bad. They just sometimes miss the point, and you're trying to fight the battle without understanding who's fighting and why. But it's so much easier once you understand why things are happening and why we do that. And when I do one-on-one sessions sometimes with clients and they don't know what they want to change the behavior with, I just give a program to their subconscious to find a thing, and a few weeks later we have a check-in call and they say it transformed naturally, that the client doesn't want to overeat when she gets back from work. She's like, I don't know what happened, and she didn't even change it with anything. So things like that can also happen. But I know that I'm not doing one-on-one session with you here, so I'm just trying to provide as many options as I possibly can so you can find what works for you. So one way of integration is writing or visualizing. Another way would be you can dance even it through, how to see the balance between those two parts and how you can morph them together. It doesn't have to look a certain way, be a certain way. It's all about finding that balance internally. That's all that matters. And sometimes you can ask the higher power to help you, to guide you and to take the burden that part has been carrying, whatever you found, to transform it for you. And that's sometimes what I do with theta healing. When it's harder to do work on our own, we can always call in the help from the universe, God, love, call it whatever you want. So again, just to recap, because I know it can be quite convoluted, is first exploring what is hiding behind those destructive habits that you have. What are you gaining? And really understanding this part and seeing what does this other part that wants to stop the habit is holding. And sometimes there can be only one part, the destructive habit that you want to change. You don't have to always work with polarization. Understanding the parts that are inside of you. What are they wanting? What are they trying to protect you from? What are their fears? And then either letting them talk together if those are polarized parts, and doing a visualization or asking the universe to guide, or journaling and finding different role for that part, or even visualizing how the burden of that part dissipates somewhere. That's the method that I do from internal family systems, the unburdening, how we can unburden the part. But this video is too short to go into the whole process. But even having those basic understandings that I share here can be really helpful. Releasing and journaling and dancing it out. And once you try it, you'll realize it's not that complicated in the end. And even though it might seem, when you just think about it, that it's not really going to change anything, try it and it might as well do change something. So my invitation for you is that next time you feel stuck of, endlessly scrolling or overeating or not going to the gym as much as you would like to, instead of judging yourself, become curious. Why are you doing that? What are you gaining from that? And what are you resisting? What are you afraid that's going to happen, if you change? There's always benefit to whatever you're doing. If there's only one thing that you can take away from this video, I want you to take away this, that every single behavior you're doing, that is to serve you in some way. And when you get deeper, you'll understand why is it, and then change will become so much more easy. If this resonated with you, I would love to hear about it in the comments. What habit are you trying to change, and what did you discover doing this inner digging process? And if you would like to work one-on-one with me to have my support, then you can message me and we'll see if there's a spot available. See you in the next one.